Have with us today Cynthia Crane, the Executive Director of the Aurora Fossil Museum. If you're new or if you haven't joined us before, a couple things I want to let you know. One, we are recording and we're also streaming on Facebook Live today. And then if you check the links in the chat that Ivan is going to drop in there, an opportunity for you to connect with us. If you really like the lunch lectures, feel free to help us out and sponsor us by making a donation. We're going to keep everybody on mute during the talk, and when we get to the question and answer session, feel free to come off mute, ask your question, or put it in the chat. So with that, we'll just go ahead and get rolling. Cynthia Crane is Executive Director of the Aurora Fossil Museum, is a paleontologist and a geologist whose expertise is on the paleontology of the coastal plain of North Carolina. She has dedicated over 20 years to research, outreach, and education efforts of the North Carolina fossil record. She continues to be a strong advocate for paleontology in both professional and amateur sectors, as well as dedicates time mentoring young people who desire to pursue careers in STEM. Cynthia has a degree from Coastal Carolina Community College and East Carolina University and holds a Master of Science in Geology from East Carolina University. Originally from Ohio, she now calls Eastern North Carolina home. Please welcome Cynthia Crane.
Hi there, and thanks, Van. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to speak about the Aurora Fossil Museum to your members of the Coastal Christian Time. So I'm going to jump right into it. The Aurora Fossil Museum, a lot of people have heard of it, but some people haven't, and I'm going to go with a little bit of background about where we're located. So the Aurora Fossil Museum is located in Eastern North Carolina in Beaufort County. It's designated as red up here on the map. You can see it. And then it's blown, the county map is blown up, and Aurora lies on the south side of the Pamlico River off of South Creek. And the town is about less than 500 in population. So it's a really small town, and the Aurora Fossil Museum is the anchor of the town. So a little bit about the history of the museum. In the late 50s, early 60s, exploration for phosphate began in Eastern North Carolina, and it was found that Beaufort County had a large deposit of phosphate underfoot, under the ground. And so they started mining for the phosphate in the mid 60s. Late 60s, early 70s, a chemical engineer was looking at core and kept finding coral samples. So he sent the samples to the Smithsonian, and the Smithsonian scientists came down and did a little recon and identified the Aurora location, which used to be Lee Creek, and now it's Aurora, as one of the most prolific fossil locations in the United States and in the world for Miocene age, Pliocene age marine fossils. And then collecting ensued in the mid 60s, early 70s. Collecting started in the mine by some fossil collectors. And early to mid 70s, the town of Aurora was looking for something that they could put together to showcase the rich fossil history of the fossil record of the Aurora area, and something to boost a little bit of the tourism and get the economy, get that visitor economy coming into Aurora. So they founded the Aurora Fossil Museum. And I think you've had Stan Riggs involved with some of your land trust talks. And Stan Riggs was part of the initial founding and design of the museum, along with the town of Aurora, Texas Gulf Sulfur, and the North Carolina Phosphate Company. So there were a lot of organizations involved in trying to develop this small museum to showcase the rich fossil record and draw some tourism to the area. In this picture, you can see a big shark, a window with the Smithsonian at work, and a door. This was the original museum entrance. And if you look down further to the right, they expanded. So over the years, they added on to the building and expanded it to add different areas, different exhibit rooms. So 4 decades later, the Aurora Fossil Museum still stands strong. We've been through many hurricanes, pandemics, all that stuff, and we're still standing strong. We're going to celebrate our 43rd birthday in June, on June 15th. That's our birthday because that's the day that the original door opened to the museum in 1978. So our mission is to educate about paleontology in an engaging manner while emphasizing the natural and cultural history of Eastern North Carolina. So we do that through a lot of different activities, events, on-site, off-site, virtually. And we also have our prize showcase fossil park, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So going through our facilities, like I said, the museum has started in a small building and then it's added on. So it's more like a complex, which works really well if we're not in a pandemic. Pre-COVID, when we have large groups of people, like 200 or 300 second graders come from a county by the bus loads, we can divide them into areas so we can divide and conquer. So we have some in the learning center, some in the park, and then some in the main museum. So our main museum consists of 3 buildings that house the gift shop, the collections, and the museum collections as well upstairs. You see a 2-story building up there to your right. That's where our collections are. I'm in the business office, and between the main museum and my business office is a rental property. Across the street, we have a learning center, which has 2 buildings, one with minerals, one with fossils, and also a multi-purpose room. And of course, the park, which has picnic tables, gazebos, and the fossil digs. So in the main museum, our exhibit spaces are the shark room, which is a very popular room. It's been, since this picture was taken, we've done some renovations to it and made some changes. But it's a way for people to view the different the fossils, which are on the bottom. They're displayed at the bottom. And then we have some modern equivalents to those fossil sharks. So people can see the tooth structure and where they lie. And it's interesting where kids and children can find fossils in the park. And then they can come in and look at the different dentitions on display, and they can identify what shark they found, which is pretty cool. It's a hands-on way of letting kids be able to identify and do some research. The main museum also has what we call the Marine Life Room. And this was the original room to the museum when it opened in 1978. To the left, you'll see a green mural. And this depicts life during the time that the Pungo River Formation formed. And that was in the Miocene age. And then to the right, you'll see a bluish one which depicts the Yorktown Formation, which is a deeper open ocean water environment. And a lot of the animals in the blue mural are alive today. A lot of the ones in the green are extinct. And also we have a mine room, which was completely renovated a few years back by Nutrien. With the support of Nutrien. And this room shows the geology underfoot of the area. It's utilized for classrooms for Boy Scout merit badges, for universities, for teacher workshops. So this room is a functional room as a classroom as well as an exhibit space. And across the street is our learning center, which has a multi-purpose room. It's a large room that we've used for all different things. This picture shows Nutrien doing one of the Boy Scout merit badges, which is Mining and Society, which is a very popular one. And hopefully we'll be able to get that back up and running soon after we get the Learning Center open in May. So this room we've used for summer camps, birthday parties, even a wedding. So it's a multi-purpose room, and of course lectures on different science topics. The fossil gallery, which is connected to the lecture hall, shows a lot of fossils from around the world at different geologic times. So when we have a child or a person wants to come and see a dinosaur tooth or a fossilized turtle or a trilobite, they can go into the fossil gallery and hopefully more times than not see a real fossil that they're fascinated with. So it helps engage people and especially kids to be able to see something that they're fascinated with when they see it in books or online. And then connected to that is our mineral gallery, which has a lot of different minerals from around the world, including a fluorescent mineral room. So when you come up, you're going to have a lot of different exhibit spaces and rooms to go to learn about science and about geology and paleontology. And then you can go outside in our world-renowned fossil park, which draws people from all over the United States and around the world to be able to come to the museum, which is admission free, learn about the past, and then dig in the fossil pits, and they get to take home their discoveries. So they have a memento of their visit at the museum in Aurora, which is a really fun thing to do. So moving forward, I want to just share the team, the AFM team. Right now we have 5 staff, or actually 6, because Andrew, our program developer, came on after this picture was taken a couple years ago. So right now we have 6 staff, 1 full-time and 5 part-time. No, 4 part-time. I'm hiring 1 more, so 5 part-time. And then we have 11 board members that oversee the museum with the Aurora Fossil Museum Foundation. And of course, we have volunteers come in and out. Once we're back up and running, we'll have more volunteers come in and interns. So myself, like Van had introduced me, I'm a geologist and paleontologist. I do computer IT, social media. I'm part-time guest lecturer at East Carolina University. And I'm also what they call the chaos coordinator and master cat herder. So all of us wear many hats, especially with nonprofits. Everybody wears many hats to make an organization run. And moving forward, I have my museum educator, Dr. George Oliver, which we call Dr. George. And he has been with the museum for 12 years now, 12 or 13 years. And we have been getting him on YouTube and on Facebook with some fossil chats with George. We've stepped back from that because we're working on reopening. But he does a lot of outreach to classrooms, to events, and now we have him more on virtual. You can see in the picture to the right that Andrew is holding the iPad because George does not do technology very well. So Andrew is helping George with a Science Olympiad coaches meeting with a group of children from the Asheville area. So while we were closed, we did have some Science Olympiad programming in fossils that we were able to do virtually with Dr. George. Andrew, who is our newest member of the team, he's our program developer, and he's a geologist and STEM education specialist. He's really taking our virtual tours, which we've been doing since 2015, but he's really just made them just explode across the United States. So he's really taken our virtual tours and our programs to a whole new level, which is exciting to see. And this is a picture of him giving a tour, I think, to some children in some classrooms in Illinois, I think it was. Rachel Boyd is our intern. She's the one I'm trying to get her hired here at the museum. She is a graduate student finishing up her degree in anthropology at East Carolina University. And her task and her project for her thesis was to renovate what we called our Native American room and renovate it into a cultural history room where we can depict all peoples from the area, starting with the Native Americans, the original peoples, and all the way up to modern times. We also started a program before COVID to
I think Cynthia might be having a little bit of
and have them on a loop in a video.
Having a little bit of technical difficulties there. While we're waiting for Cynthia to kind of get back on track here, maybe we can catch up with her. I'm going to ask Ivana if she will drop the link to the Aurora Museum down in the chat there, and you guys can feel free to take a look at that and see what they've got going on, including the virtual classrooms and all the other things they have there in Aurora. I will go ahead and let you guys know what we have coming up. Coming up on April 9th, we have Amy Mead, who is the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Agent, and she's going to talk about pollinators, which is a fantastic lead-in for us because the following week, April 12th through 17th, we're going to be celebrating Pollinator Palooza with new videos all about pollinators and posted on our Facebook every day leading up to April 17th when we do the actual event, Pollinator Palooza. And maybe I'll ask Ivana if she will come on and just say a few things about what's happening that day.
So on Saturday, the 17th, we're going to start our live stream at 10 a.m. And we're having some educators from Airlie Gardens, from the North Carolina Cooperative Extension, and then also the city of Wilmington to come, and they're going to show off their pollinator gardens and sort of give us a guide of what they've got blooming and any insects that are there. And then they're also going to talk about things like pollinators, native plants, plant anatomy. And so that'll be that morning. The week before, we're going to have videos about composting, beekeeping, all sorts of things related to pollinators. So it'll be a really good time, and all that will be on Facebook. You can also find it on our website.
Great, thanks so much. And so I would love to ask if anybody has any questions, but I'm sure that I can't answer anything about the museum myself. So I'm just going to thank you guys for coming today. You can see the links there. You can check out everything for the Fossil Museum. Maybe you can even go and take a visit. Oh, looks like here's Cynthia coming back in, maybe? Nope. Okay. There she is.
There she is.
I'm back.
All right.
I gave everybody a pause. I don't know.
We were freestyling a little bit, so.
We have some people working on some power poles down the road. So maybe, I don't know if that's what caused it. Let me get back to the shared screen. Host disabled. So I need shared screen re-enabled.
Gotcha.
Always something. But okay, share screen. Okay. I was talking about Rachel. And this is a picture, I don't know if that's when it dropped. It's a picture of Rachel giving a YouTube video on pottery and how pottery, the different techniques for Native American pottery in the area. And last but not least, the central location is the gift shop, which is where people come in the door and they're greeted. And this is our gift shop manager, Nellie, and our online gift shop manager, Tyler. And they keep a lot of the gift shop and area just running and hopping along. When you come into the museum, you'll probably be greeted by either Nellie or Tyler or George. And we're a great team. So I want to go fast forward to our impact, and I'm going to use 2019 data because of that guy. We didn't have much 2020 data because of COVID. But 2019, we had over 22,000 people walk through our door in Aurora, in a town of less than 500, which was phenomenal for us to reach that 22,000 number. We do a 50-state campaign typically every year. So in 2019, we welcomed the first visitor from each state with a memento and a celebration, and we reached our 50-state campaign around June or July of that year. 2020, we were open from January 1st through March 16th. And in those 2.5 months, we had all but 4 states left. So we were poised to really take off in 2020 with visitorship, and we had to shutter the doors. But it was nice to see the amount and the projections that we were anticipating up until we closed. Of course, we had all 50 states and 6 continents, and this was the map I was talking to you guys about earlier. This shows our 30 countries that visited us in 2019. So we had people from all over the world come in to spend the day with us in Aurora. 2019, of course, we had a lot of activities, a lot of programming, such as April Science Saturdays. We're partnered with the North Carolina Science Festival. We'll be doing an event on Earth Day this year. And May, our Boy Scout Merit Badge program, and our big fundraiser, Aurora Fossil Festival, usually happens on Memorial Day weekend, but we had to cancel it last year, and we're forming a scalable, small event for May 29th in place of the festival this year. So if we have to move it, we can, but we're going to have a grand reopening celebration on May 29th in place of the festival this year. And then we will focus on a huge 2022 Fossil Festival, which draws people from all over the world, all over the United States come. We get about 8,000 to 12,000 people in Aurora on that weekend for the festival. So we're looking forward to getting that back going in 2022. Of course, we have our July, late July, early August this year will be our Imagine NC summer camp. Imagine NC stands for Integrating Mathematics and Geology in Eastern North Carolina. And it's a partnership with East Carolina University and Beaufort County Schools, where we provide a daily summer camp for children around local children, and to engage in science and learn about geology and paleontology and different things that different careers that they could have. So it's kind of a way to introduce them and maybe spark interest in STEM careers. And it's funded through the Borough's Welcome Fund. In October, we partner with the National Park Service for our National Fossil Day celebration, because where else can you have a National Fossil Day Festival celebration and not be at Aurora Fossil Museum? So that was a no-brainer for us a few years back, and we're looking at growing that this year too. Offsite program in 2019, we would go to a lot of different places, from Gastonia to the coast, to support our partners. They in turn come to the Fossil Festival and support us. So it's a way for us to have a mobile fossil dig to these different events, to attract visitors to their event and support them as well as they support us. And of course, we would go to a lot of different classroom visits. Dr. George would be out in local regional counties to share fossils and talk about fossils to the classrooms. Our virtual program in 2019, where we send fossil material to classrooms for teachers to teach about fossils, engage students with fossil hunting, and then virtual tours of the museum provided by Andrew. So in 2019, that map shows where we shipped fossil material to, and we served over 36,000 students that way with that program. So we do a lot with a little, and we're excited about that. But our projected growth, this is from 2019 when we had the 22,000 visitors. We were projected to continue to grow and exceed 25,000 visitors in 2021, which is this year. The most it had ever been visitor-wise in the 40-year history was 25,000. So we were set to break that record. But we had this humongous year planned for 2020, but of course that pandemic happened, and like every nonprofit, we had to adjust and adapt. So how we adapted, we used the closure as an opportunity for us to do some needed repairs that over the years, the museum being in older buildings, always have repairs to be done. So we used the time to complete some marine life room, shark room, gift shop repairs, mainly to the ceilings, and the second floor collection space. And also we had a lot of people coming and wanting to visit in the beginning of 2020. We were trying to keep people away because our town and our community has a high vulnerable population. And so we come up with this fossil survivor kit where we would send a little package of microfossils to families and to people across the United States so they could fossil hunt from the safety of their homes. And That was a really, really good hit for the museum. It helped us sustain the museum, to keep all the staff working and employed, kept the post office going, and some of our local contractors employed. So it was a way for us to take the opportunity to fix things and also provide a resource for families across the United States with these kits. We've continued to grow our social media, and looking at Facebook, we're hoping to get 10,000 likes this year, which is exciting. So we continue to grow that with our social media presence. We did launch our state license plate program in August. And this is a way for people who like the Fossil Museum and want to support it. They can sport a MEG license plate on their cars. We have to reach 500 pre-applicants in order for the plate to be produced. And so now that we're getting back open, we have more people that are interested in it. So we're hoping to meet that goal this year so that we can have those MEG plates driving around North Carolina. And we also were a 2020 Traveler's Choice Award, the top 10% worldwide. This was from 2019, where people were like arranging and planning their vacations in 2020 before everything shut down. So it's this.
We almost made it. We were almost there. I think we've lost her again. Yeah, I'm afraid we've lost Cynthia. So once again, you guys feel free to go check out all the good stuff that we got going on at the Fossil Museum. I know when I was talking to Cynthia, she said they had some teeth that they found as far out as I-95 in North Carolina. So check out the link. It's still sitting there in the chat for you. And I will go ahead and say thank you guys so much for coming out and joining us on little lunch lectures. Don't forget to come back next week, and we'll look forward to seeing you then. Thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend.